to another episode of the It's Just Different podcast. And before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell. The Michigan State Spartans upset the Michigan Wolverines in the Big House 27-24. Hard fought win for them. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. They played their asses off. They were the better team. They looked like they wanted it more. They felt they really played like they had something to prove, especially after they had lost to Rutgers. They had a chip on their shoulders, and it seemed like Michigan never really was, never matched their level of intensity throughout the game. That's the best way I could put it. Lackluster effort on the defense, on the defensive backs. Play calling was kind of sketchy. But again, I said this to a friend, while the game was over with. Had Michigan won that game, they would have not earned that game. Michigan State honestly should have won that game. If I'm going to speak honestly, they should have won the game. They were the better team. If Michigan snuck in the back door and won that game at the end of it, hey, good victory, but hey, it wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been much. But they didn't, and Michigan State pulled it off. Now, what's my takes on the game? Here's my thoughts. I thought and Joel Klatt, who was calling the game, him and Gus Johnson for Fox, I thought what Joel Klatt said was very evident in the game. Is if they're going to call pass interference, a PI, or illegal touching, whatever the case may be, on the defensive backs, very, very, it was like an emphasis on what they were going to do about it. If they're going to call it tight the way they did, Michigan had no chance. And it was obvious as the way Lombardi, the quarterback from Michigan State, was just dropping back and just throwing the ball down the field. It was obvious that Michigan State knew that once you take away the fact that Michigan likes to grab or hold or be physical on the outside, once you take that away, you have the advantage, and it was clear. They kept throwing the ball down the field. There was more than a few occasions where the defensive backs in Michigan were stride for stride with the receiver, and for whatever reason, technique or whatever, they just lost track of the football. I'm still trying to figure out why they were just lucky. Why would they would just stop randomly on routes and the ball would be coming right across their face. Charles Woodson said at that halftime of that game, looking at the adjustments, he kept saying, man, if you just run with the guy and turn around, the ball's going to come right to you. You know what I'm saying? Just keep playing. Don't stop. Just keep going and turn around. And they only had one good one. Jamon Green had one where he turned around in the end zone, the ball hit him right in his chest, and he got tripped accidentally by the Michigan State receiver and dropped the interception in the end zone. But that was probably the only good play in the secondary as far as the cornerbacks go. Daxton Hill had a couple guys one-on-one at times, and he did what Daxton Hill does. He played great coverage. They missed an obvious PI against Michigan, and they missed a drop pass that the ball bounced, hit the ground into the Michigan State receiver's hands. They didn't review that. I'm not going to say those calls made Michigan lose the game, but they obviously didn't help. And again, like I say, Michigan State was a better team Saturday, but if you're going to call the game the way you called it on one side and you didn't call it that way on the other side, it leans for anybody to go, okay, it's fine to call the game tight. Most players hate it that way, but if you're going to call it that way, fine. But call it that way. Don't swallow your whistles when it's a key third down or a key pass, and a lot of us played sports, and it's like referees don't want to feel like they're the reason why you got an advantage on the play, or the reason why you, in a tight moment or a desperation moment, you got the advantage. They don't want to feel like that. So, you know, it was it was tough seeing those missed calls at the end of the game. It really was tough. Um, but you know, as I said again, props to them for Mel Tucker for having his team ready to play. They did not look like the same team from week one at all. Um, I don't know if that was just us or if that was them. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of both. But I also want to get into these Michigan fans who um, think that Jim Harbaugh is the worst thing that happened to Michigan since Lloyd Carr in some way. Like it's starting to get a little annoying at times because Jim Harbaugh has brought this program back to what it was. Relevant again. Relevant again where national media keep us in the conversation every year. After Lloyd Carr left, that went away. You know, you had Brady Hoke, you had Rich Rod, and Brady Hoke. Um, you know, we weren't a powerhouse anymore. You know, yes, Brady Hoke beat Ohio State, but do you see the coach that he beat? That was at Ohio State. That guy didn't last long, did he? Um, he didn't have to beat Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer is one of the greatest college football coaches of all time. That's not even debatable. Not even debatable. And I mean, I'm not a genius, but if you tell me Brady Hoke had to go against Urban Meyer uh, in a series in his tenure during Michigan, they wouldn't have won either. Like, I'm just telling the truth. Now, do I think Ryan Day is a great coach? And that's yet to be seen. You know, you know, he's finally getting his recruits in, so we'll see. They have some really great talent all over all up and down their roster, but we don't know. We don't know what this team is going to be. I can tell you just watching um, a little bit of the Nebraska game and a little bit of the Penn State game, their defense is not good. I can tell you that. Their defense is okay. Their front seven is pretty good. As far as the secondary goes, Sean Wade is pretty much the only one in the defensive backfield that's, you know, any he gets any kind of national attention. But Penn State just didn't have the horses on offense. You know, you get a team that has offensive talent, I think Ohio State's going to be in trouble. But that's, you know, I'm just speaking honestly about that. But you know, a Harbaugh. Let me say this. For anyone wondering, am I frustrated with Jim Harbaugh? I don't want to know if it's. I can't say if it's frustration or not. I don't think I'm frustrated because I'm looking at it from an honest perspective, right? Michigan has won the last title was in '97 with the Charles Woodson team, and since then we haven't really been that great. We've had a couple of great years with Harbaugh. We just lost Ohio State at the end of the season, which screwed us up, or lost that one game at Iowa, which screwed us over. But other than that, have I been frustrated, man? No, I haven't really been frustrated because I honestly have been calling for the quarterback we have now for 2 seasons. And yes, I was a Shea Patterson apologist, but I also kept saying Joe Milton's a better quarterback for this team. I get that we weren't wearing the offensive scheme that Josh Gattis has now with the weapons he has now, but I always just felt Joe Milton was the guy. And for those saying Joe Milton was the reason why we lost last week, let me say this as honest as I can, or as honest as I can. If you think Joe Milton was the reason why Michigan lost this game, you're an idiot. You're a pure idiot. Joe Milton had nothing to do with the reason why we lost this game. Joe Milton was doing exactly what he was supposed to do, and he was getting what Michigan State was giving him. I didn't really see many passes throughout the game where he got called to throw the ball deep. A lot of guys, it was a lot of slants and crossing routes or whatever. It wasn't really straight, just go straight down the field like Michigan State was. It was more like catch it on the run and try to make one guy miss and see what happens. And that wasn't working because Michigan State was straight blitzing, run blitzing every play, which, I don't want to get into the fact they kept running the ball right up the middle and it wasn't working. When you had the outside zone working, I don't know. But yeah, getting back to Harbaugh, I think Jim Harbaugh is a perfect guy for this. And I was talking to some friends after the game. Here's my take on it. I don't want it to be easy with Jim Harbaugh. I don't want it to be as simple as get the players. Harbaugh's going to run through the Big Ten undefeated every season. I don't want it like that. I want it to be hard. I want him to build it up, get it to the point where people say, okay, like right now, okay, he has no chance. Michigan has no chance of beating Ohio State. I love to hear that because when it happens, I want everybody to go, oh, maybe he is a decent coach. Maybe he is a good coach. Harbaugh is a fantastic coach. He's a great coach. I just think sometimes, as most people do, they get caught in their ways sometimes, and they think a little bit too much about certain things. I thought Michigan outsmarted themselves in their red zone. Well, at the goal line, I'm sorry, with the whole Wildcat thing, and I didn't really understand it. I didn't really understand it. And in fact, if you were going to Wildcat pass on 4th and goal, I think you had two plays from the 1 or 2 or something like that, whatever it was. If you're going to do a pass on a Wildcat, you should have did it on the first play. That would have really caught him off guard because you never showed a pass out of that formation. So if you would have came out in formation with Haskins, they automatically would have just guessed run, which they did, and the first one would have been wide open. The second one wasn't as wide open because they kind of had a linebacker in the back thinking there's no way they're going to run it again. And he got a nice tip on the ball. Haskins should have put it up a little bit higher. But hey, that type of stuff happens, man. I think Harbaugh's the man for the job. I'll keep saying this because I know this. Jim Harbaugh is not going anywhere anytime soon. So you can keep begging, you can keep hoping, you can keep scratching and clawing and crying about it. Jim Harbaugh is not going anywhere. You know why? Because Jim Harbaugh knows the job is not even close to being finished. He needs to beat Ohio State. He needs to get a Big Ten title. He needs to win his national championship. That's the goals, guys. That is the goal. And if you lose a game to your crosstown rival, sure, it sucks. It shouldn't have happened. It's stupid. It shouldn't have happened. But that doesn't mean, man, you lost to them and fired him. No. Here's my problem with the fire thing. I cannot stand people who get a coach who wants to get every coach that you have fired. You know what I'm saying? Go to the NFL. Look at the New York Jets. They fired Todd Bowles and then replaced him with Adam Gase. And they're extremely more worse than what they were because you just wanted the guy gone. Because it just felt bad watching the game. Oh, man, we're not that good. It felt bad. Oh, you were pretty decent. You're bad now. Like, we all see it now. You're historically bad now. Look at the Lions. You fired, who's the coach that they had? I can't, Jim, what's the guy's name, guys? Somebody help me out in the comments. Oh my God. See, that's what happens when I don't listen to the Lions. I don't watch the Lions, I'm sorry. Whatever, you fired the coach that kept getting you to playoffs and had a winning record the year you fired him, thinking that it just wasn't good enough. Jim Caldwell, that's the guy's name. Jim Caldwell. You fired Jim Caldwell for Matt Patricia, and what does it look like? How bad has it been since Patricia has taken over? See, you're outsmarting yourself. The frustration of losing games and certain games because it looks bad, the overreaction is a little bit annoying. And the Michigan fan base, to me, acts like the Detroit Lions. And a lot of them are Detroit Lions fans. I would never root for the Lions, by the way. It just looks like, man, I feel like a lot of Michigan fans are taking their Detroit Lions frustration and putting it on Michigan and saying, well, my Lions suck. Michigan keeps losing big games. Fire everybody on both teams. And it's like, no. If I have a problem with one coach, it's Don Brown. Now, I have not heard what he had to say after this game. I don't even know if he's going to talk. But I didn't like the way that he kept putting those guys on the island if they were just going to get PIs all game. Like, you gotta adjust at some point, or even disguise the coverage, man. Disguise it as if you're going to go zone and then make it man, or just make them think. I mean, Lombardi was catching the ball, drop back, or rolling out and just flinging it down the field. That's all he was doing, and it was insane to me how they kept getting open. I was like, they're just running straight past you guys. That double move was like, it wasn't even a good double move when they kept falling for it. That was the thing that I think frustrated me more than anything. Don Brown was already on a hot seat, and that hot seat has it's intensified right now. Intensified for Don Brown. He may not make it out of the season if they lose another game like that. If they lose another game before they go to Ohio State, I think Don Brown may lose his job, because they should not be losing to nobody until they get to it. They're way more talented than any team they're playing besides Ohio State. So I don't understand it. I don't really get why he struggles so much in the secondary. But that's the one thing I'm hopeful that we get figured out is the secondary. They're very high on the guys they have. It's about the guys also being confident in themselves. You could tell a guy's not confident in himself when he's just reaching and grabbing. Like that let you know that this guy does not have confidence in anything he's doing out there. Sometimes you gotta take a kid out like that. I think they take Vincent Gray out at some point. You gotta take a kid out sometimes. Just let him know, look, man, breathe a little bit. You're doing too much. You're doing too much. But yeah, man, I will go down with the ship. If Harbaugh is not the guy at some point, I'll get on my podcast and my platform and let everybody know I was wrong. But I just know he's the guy. I know he's the guy. And people were saying, well, we need another coach. Okay, get another coach. That's fine. Who are you going to get? I posted this on my Facebook page. Who are you going to... I don't want a pipe dream. I don't want a guy that's already at another school and you're like, man, if we pay this guy $30-odd million to come to Michigan, he's going to take... No, it's not happening. We're in the freaking pandemic, people. Money is very, very tight. Nobody's going to just fire Jim Harbaugh. You know, that buyout clause is going to be high. Everybody knows it's going to be high. And then go, oh, we're going to reach for the stars for a guy who probably doesn't even want to be here and probably is not even going to take the job. So it's like, no, I don't want a pipe dream. I want a guy that you definitively say, I know if Michigan asks this guy to come, he will take the job. That's all I'm looking for. And I've yet to hear somebody say, well, this guy will be a better coach than Jim Harbaugh. Why? Because you think he won't lose with Ohio State? You think that another coach who won't recruit as much talent as Jim Harbaugh will beat Ohio State? You want to go back to the days where you don't even know who your defensive guys are. You don't know who your offensive skill guys are. You want to go back to those days? I sure as hell don't want to. When you're just out here trying to figure out, is this guy good or is this guy good? Because Michigan has some damn good players on their roster. Damn good players on their roster that will fight their asses off every single week. And if you're a Michigan fan and you are that quick to jump the ship, then guess what? Bye. Bye. Because that tells me you want everything easy in your life. You want everything to go your way and very easily. That ain't how it works, man. That ain't how it works. I would much rather go through the fire and then win, because it'll feel that much better when it happens. That's just my opinion on that. If you have a problem with that, please comment in the comment section. I don't mind. I don't get offended by nothing anybody says. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. I just hate when people throw ideas out there. I get it. You're a fan. You're hurt. I hate when people throw ideas out there and they have no backing up of their opinion. They try to make it seem like you're stupid. I've been on these group pages for 3 days, 2 days now, and the things that people have to say about this program is insane to me. Like, it's like, my God, man, do you even know what you're talking about? Like, I really believe that people from this state who are Lions fans and Wolverines fans. I'm not a Lions fan. I'm just a Wolverines fan. I think they're clumping them all in together and saying, well, this all looks bad. If the Lions are bad, the Wolverines are bad too. No. Michigan has hellified talent all over the field. They got to figure out a way to just let the receivers be receivers. Let those guys be put in positions to be great. Let the defensive scheme change a little bit week to week, depending on who you're playing. If you see a team's going to keep throwing the ball down the field, make an adjustment, Don Brown. Make an adjustment. I believe in this team. I still believe this team is going to be the best team at the end of the year when it all counts. I'm not wavering one bit. I'm not wavering one bit. If you think I am, you lost your damn mind, man. I'm not wavering one bit. This is the same guy that looked everybody in their face when the bubble started and said the Miami Heat will beat the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics and go to the NBA Finals. I'm that same guy. And everybody say, yeah, Miami's good, but they're not going to beat Milwaukee. And if they beat Milwaukee, they're damn sure not going to beat Boston. Well, it happened. And they took the Los Angeles Lakers 6 games. They played hard. They went to 6 games without 2 of their best players. I don't just throw opinions out there, people, just because. I just don't. I'm not the smartest person in the room. I don't claim to be the smartest person in the room. But I'm damn sure not stupid. I just see things differently than everybody else sees. People look at the game result and they go, oh, this team's bad. And I look at the game and I go, no, this team's not bad. They just got to learn how to do certain things a little better or a little different. And they'll be fine. They'll be just fine. That was it for this podcast, man. I'll see you sometime later in the week, man. Stay loyal, stay blessed, go vote, and peace.